Hi, this is IK Tutors, and we're doing question number, I believe, 24, which was requested by our students. All right, so let's take a look at this question and see what we're dealing with. And remember that on the HASI, we're going to get word problems. You have to know how to deal with them. Whenever we see a word problem, we have to determine what type of, well, generally speaking, we have to translate the word problem into an equation and then solve the equation for the unknown. But in order to translate it, we have to know what type of equation. And the way we know what type of equation is that we look at the numbers to see what type of problem it is, right? If we see they're giving us ratio values, then it's a proportion problem. If we see they're giving us percents, then it's a percent problem. If we see they're giving us conversion units, then it's a conversion unit problem, right? So we have to look at what they're giving us. So in this question, let's take a look and see what they're giving us, and then we'll know how to set it up. So it states, dosing instructions for a prescription or oral pain medicine calls for 0.5 milligrams per kilogram of body weight twice a day, right? Okay. Now it goes on to say if a patient is taking a total of 44.8 milligrams a day, what is the patient's weight in kilograms? Well, they kind of did a switcheroo on us. They started off the statement with how many milligrams per kilogram they take per day, but then they give us a comparison of how many milligrams per day, right? And then they want to know how many kilograms. So we can just think of this logically. Okay, if a patient's taking zero point 0.4 milligrams twice a day, that means they're taking zero point 0.8 milligrams per day per body weight, right? Because it says zero point 0.4 milligrams per kilogram of body weight. If they're doing that twice a day, that means they're taking 0.8 milligrams, with 2 times 0.4, it's zero point 0.8 milligrams, right, per day, right? So we have our ratios now. Let's go to the whiteboard and figure out what the answer is. They also say round to the nearest kilogram. Okay, so we're going to round the answer off to the nearest kilogram. Let's go to the whiteboard. Okay, so we see our equations here. We recognize that this is the proportion ratio that they're giving us. They're giving us milligrams per day and kilograms, right? So we set up the first one. We said 2 times 0.4 milligrams, right? And this is on a daily basis. Is going to give us 0.8 milligrams per day per kilogram of weight. Right? So we know that. So that's how we got this first fraction, right? That's the first ratio. The other thing is also part of the question. They said if a patient takes 44.8 milligrams per day, what is its kilograms? So they're both in milligrams per day per kilogram. So we have this ratio, the proportion ratio set up. So now this is and they said, what is its weight? What is the patient weight? So the X goes on the bottom, right? Because it's going to be, the kilograms is on the bottom, so we know it's weight on the bottom, so the X goes on the bottom. So we have rewritten, and we know it's a proportion problem, and we wrote our equivalents to two fractions. Is 0.8 over 1 equals 44.8 over X. Now we're going to cross multiply to get the equation. And this is a 3-step process that we can use on any proportion ratio problem that we run into on a HASI, right? So the second step is we're going to cross multiply to get an equation so that we can solve the equation. Remember the procedure for word problems is we translate the word problem into an equation, right? And then we solve the equation. Well, we write here with the proportion problem. We've written it out. Now we're going to cross multiply to get that equation, and then we're going to solve the equation. So let's go ahead and do it. So we have 0.8 times X, so 0.8 on the top times X on the bottom, equals 44.8 times 1. So it's going to be 44.8 times 1. Now next step is we're going to simplify and solve, right? So we get 0.8 equals 44.8, right? Because 44.8 times 1 equals 40. Now we're going to solve, right? And how do we solve? We focus on the variable side of the equal sign, look at the variable, which is the letter, and see what operations happen. We're multiplying by 0.8, so we have to do the opposite of that to solve. So we divide by 0.8. And then also, because of the equal sign, whatever we do on one side of the equal sign, we have to do the exact operation on the other side. So we're going to divide the other side by 0.8 as well. So 0.8x divided by 0.8 gives us 1x, which is just x. And then 44.8 divided by 0.8 gives us 56. Right. Now remembering we were looking for kilograms, right? We said, what's the weight of the patient? So we know this is going to be 56 kilograms. Okay. So I hope that helps. If it did, please remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next video. Have an amazing day.